Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Ba'ashem Barakakwadash, Barakathom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you, Akim, out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Raya with another video. And I'm going to start it off with Matthew chapter 24, verse 21 to 22. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And we're in these times of great tribulation that haven't been seen since the beginning, nor will not be seen afterwards, greater than the times of Noah. We're living in the last seconds of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, that red Hebrew Edomites' rulership. That's why, as it says in Revelation 12, verse 12, the devil is come down in great wrath, knowing that he hath but a short time. And these Edomites, especially the elites of these Edomites, know that they have a short time, so that's why they're pulling out all the stops to roll out their New World Order. And a big part of this New World Order is going to be that 5G technology, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard about, because it's going to be used to process all the information going through the coming blockchain, the smart cities, and all your biometric data readings that are going to be being emitted from your microchip implant, which is the mark of the beast. But not just is 5G going to be a big part of Esau's New World Order, but it's going to have a lot of negative health connotations for human beings, which is all by design, because it's to play into Esau Edom's New World Order agenda of depopulation, as stated on the Georgia Guidestones. This is an article from endoftheamericandream.com titled, Will 5G cell phone technology lead to dramatic population reduction as large numbers of men become sterile? Again, back in Matthew 24 and 22, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. I know that the title of this article is controversial, but the scientific research that has been done in this area inevitably leads us to some conclusions that are inescapable. Our current cell phone technology produces electromagnetic radiation that damages male fertility, and the radiation produced by the new 5G technology will be much more powerful and therefore much more dangerous. And a lot of people are already using 4G. It's just going to become more prevalent with each passing day. This is the Wi-Fi network that I'm on, Netgear 14, using 5G. But most people don't know about this. Instead, most people are greatly looking forward to the rollout of 5G technology because it will be up to 100 times faster than our current 4G technology. And who wouldn't want that? The big cell phone companies will be spending hundreds of billions of dollars to install hundreds of thousands of new 5G antennas, and every single one of those antennas will be constantly emitting very powerful electromagnetic radiation. Since we can't see the radiation, to many people, the threat does not seem real. But the truth is that if you live in a major urban area, you are constantly being bombarded by it. And you best believe that there's going to be a disproportionate amount of these 5G towers where Jake lives, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because just like Pharaoh in ancient Egypt, this modern day Pharaoh in this modern spiritual Egypt is trying to abort you Israelites to get rid of you. And once the new 5G network is completely rolled out, you would literally have to live in the middle of nowhere to get away from it completely. 5G is a quantum leap from 4G, but because the smaller 5G waves do not travel as well, a lot more antennas will be required. In order to achieve faster speeds, 5G relies on millimeter waves, which are even smaller than microwaves and operate at a higher frequency. These smaller waves are more easily absorbed by buildings, trees, and other things like people. It's all by design. So more towers will be needed in order to maintain connectivity. The industry has created specialized small cell stations and new, larger base stations to accommodate the demands of 5G tech. Even so, it's expected that a small cell will need to be installed every 250 meters in cities for 5G to work properly. There will be one on every street corner. In addition, 5G technology is ultra-high frequency and ultra-high intensity. 5G cell towers are more dangerous than other cell towers for two main reasons. First, compared to earlier versions, 5G is ultra-high frequency and ultra-high intensity. 1G, 2G, 3G, and 4G use between 1 to 5 gigahertz frequency. 5G uses between 24 to 90 gigahertz frequency. Within the RF radiation portion of the electromagnetic spectrum, the higher frequency, the more dangerous it is to living organisms. So basically, the radiation that we will constantly be absorbing will be much, much, much more powerful than before, and the sources emitting the radiation will be much closer to us. Are you starting to get the picture? If that wasn't bad enough, an investigation conducted at the university in Israel discovered that the surface of the human body actually draws 5G radiation in like an antenna. What's further disturbing about 5G radiation is how the human body responds to and processes it. Dr. Ben Ishai from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem discovered as part of a recent investigation that human skin acts as a type of receptor for 5G radiation, drawing it in like an antenna. This kind of technology, which is in many of our homes, actually interacts with human skin and eyes, writes Arjun Walaya for Collective Evolution about the study. Again, all by design. It's all by design for this to lead to male infertility. Human sweat ducts act like a number of helical antennas when exposed to these wavelengths that are put out by the devices that employ 5G technology, he adds. But because we cannot detect this radiation with our 5 senses, most people will never even understand what is happening to them. Okay, now let's talk about fertility. Several early studies found that our current cell phone technology has a negative effect on male fertility. A 2005 mouse study found a significant genotoxic DNA damaging effect on spermatozoa. A 2007 rat study found significantly higher incidence of sperm cell death, suggesting that carrying cell phones near reproductive organs could negatively affect male fertility. And a 2009 rat study found that the radiation from cell phones negatively affects semen quality and may impair male fertility. And with them planning on building 5G antennas every 250 meters, you won't even need to carry a cell phone on you to be bombarded with this 5G radiation. You'll be completely consumed in it no matter where you go. And about a decade ago, a study that looked at men that were being treated at an infertility clinic concluded that using a cell phone had a substantial impact on sperm quality. In 2008, for instance, scientists led by Ashok Agarwal, director of research at the Center for Reproductive Medicine at the Cleveland Clinic, announced the findings of a study on 361 men treated at a fertility clinic. About 10% rarely or never used a cell phone, while just over half were on their cell more than 2 hours a day. Using a cell phone, the scientists concluded, decreases the semen quality in men by decreasing the sperm count, motility, viability, and normal morphology. And the times we live in now, you pretty much can't operate without a cell phone, and you're constantly on the cell phone. I'm on my cell phone more than I really need to be. I'm recording this video on my cell phone. And as Americans get lazier and lazier, studies have shown that they spend up to 10 hours a day on the internet, and many people mainly use the internet through their cell phones. Or as Agarwal put it less formally, semen quality tended to decline as daily cell phone use increased. Men who said they have used their cell phones for more than 4 hours each day had the lowest average sperm count and motility and the lowest numbers of normal viable sperm. And like I just said, people are using they're on their cell phones 10 to 12 hours a day, even more. And look at how much damage was caused by just 4 hours of use each day. But even more alarming was a 2014 University of Exeter study that came up with some extremely frightening numbers. In 2014, another study on this matter was released, this one led by the University of Exeter. This study utilized 1,492 semen samples collected from fertility clinics and research centers. 50 to 80% of the samples had normal movement, but that number fell by 8% when the samples were exposed to cell phone radiation. This suggests that sperm viability and overall quality deteriorates when exposed to cell phone frequencies. The same study goes on to propose that the reason 14% of couples in high and middle income countries experience infertility is because so many adults now have cell phones. But yeah, that's pretty much it with this article. But with the rollout with this 5G technology, you see how bad things are really starting to look. And as I said at the beginning, this is all a part of Esau Edom's depopulation agenda, as stated on the Georgia Guidestones. And this is a Wikipedia article on the Georgia Guidestones. And these are the 10 commandments of the Guidestones. A message consisting of a set of 10 guidelines or principles is engraved on the Georgia Guidestones in 8 different languages. One language on each face of the 4 upright stones, moving clockwise around the structure from due north. These languages are English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, traditional Chinese, and Russian. We're going to focus on the first 2. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. And Esau's planning on doing this. He's doing it through a soft way right now, through cell phone and 5G radiation causing male infertility, through phytoestrogens turning men more feminine and eventually homosexuals so they won't want to reproduce, and all these other chemicals that are destroying people's mental health and destroying their bodies and making them weak and giving them cancer. But eventually Esau's going to go for a hard push where there's going to be a World War III, where people are going to be taken in large numbers because that World War III is going to go nuclear. And these elites honestly believe that after the dust settles that they're going to be able to come back to the surface and rule, but that's not going to be the case, because once the mark of the beast, which is that microchip implant, is mandatorily implemented, that's when that nuclear strike is going to take place, and Yahushua is going to return with the chariot to save the elect, the 144,000 and righteous 1/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, as well as the confusion of face Israelites that will come looking as these other nations. And once we're saved and we come down off those chariots, we're going to come after you elites in the places where you're hiding, your undersea bases, your underground bunkers, your low-orbit space stations. So this is going to be the last hurrah for you Edomites. Verse 2, guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. And what are their guidelines for guiding reproduction wisely? Making a race of weak, mentally inferior people that'll serve as good, obedient slaves, and also taking out you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because we have the blessing and the birthright of the kingdom. And if Esau can't get it, he might as well destroy you. But with all this information coming out showing how Esau is trying to push for population control and a new world order that plays into 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, that son of perdition, who has been revealed to be Esau Edom, the so-called white man, the red Hebrew Edomite. And when we go down to perdition in the Strongs, it's